Brian Barnes. I'm the owner of Colorado Family Roofing. This is my second business that I currently have. It's really like my fourth, but my wife will joke to you. She's like, how many businesses do you have? I think I have like 8. But really, it's the second serious business that I have, Colorado Family Roofing.
As always, Daniël-James here. I've done more than 2 to 3 million in gross sales with marketing campaigns. We've helped different website companies and e-commerce companies. Isn't there something about embracing the chaos when you have kids, you have a business? There's so many things happening multiple times all at once. How do you kind of simplify that? How do you beat inflation? How do you navigate all the bundles and things like that in your life and your business? Well, I told the team, let's just try something really crazy. Let's go all out with a bundle offer for clients. If you want to do like next level marketing, this should in 90 days improve your brand. What we're throwing up on top of that, just to have fun with it, is a Ledger Stacks wallet. It looks like this, so you'll be receiving one, and yes, it's got Doge and Bitcoin that you can put on it and then move it around and things like that. So check it out. We'll jump into my vehicle, we'll go to a vacation resort, we'll go to my office and talk about this. The video is much longer, so go make sure to follow through with it.
Thank you for being here. Amazing question.
Check out House Hack, and then also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you. MoneyBru Show. Shout out.
Hey everyone, welcome to the MoneyBru Show. I am here with Brian Barnes, a good friend, entrepreneur. He's scaled through businesses. He's had multiple businesses and been through the grind. He has like the work-life balance that from a distance, you're like, Brian, how are you doing this? Yes, I see you're tired, but you're amazing. And I just kind of was attracted to your brands and was able to learn and kind of not only work with you as a client, but mentor and get some mentorship from you. So thanks for coming on the MoneyBru Show. Yeah, just introduce yourself and tell people kind of like, you know, who you are.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. It's very exciting to be here. So as you said, Brian Barnes, I'm the owner of Colorado Family Roofing. This is my second business that I currently have. It's really like my fourth, but my wife will joke to you. She's like, how many businesses do you have? I think I have like 8. But really, it's the second serious business that I have, Colorado Family Roofing. Yeah. That's me in a nutshell. And
yeah. Because you're basically like a serial entrepreneur, but the difference is like you're actually doing it and getting it. You're getting the pieces in where you need to get them in, and I feel like entrepreneurship is a lot of that optimizing of like, okay, sure, it's not a failure, but you shift into that next thing, and I'm starting to notice that about business structure and stuff. But before we get into that, guys, you know how much effort we put into all these shows. We run a tight ship here. If you saw the set, I'll take a little video, you guys can check it out, but make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It takes a lot of effort and energy to make a show like this happen, but we get to enjoy it and like share the value and just go to the next level with every piece of content. So yeah, deep dive, share something funny, like I'll put like something up on the next screen, right, that you can engage with. But my next segment here, before we go into rapid fire, is this show has different food taste testing segments. And throughout this episode, I'm going to take Brian through a journey of South African little goodies that he can enjoy. So it's more than just like a business format. And that's really the ultimate opportunity that we get to not just connect on that level, but show you guys more real, like, down-to-earth version of this episode. So I already asked him, you don't have any allergies?
No allergies. I'm excited.
You're excited. Anything that you hate eating or don't like eating, or are you good at everything?
Cantaloupe is the only thing I really despise. So as long as we don't have cantaloupe here, I'm good.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's quickly do the rapid fire, and this will just be like quick yes and no segments. Okay, or like, you could just give like a 1 answer or 2 answer type answer.
All right.
Okay, so morning or night person?
Oh, I'm a morning person.
Nice. Favorite book or mentor?
Alex Hormozi.
Oh, there we go. There we go. So then his book as well.
Both the books.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. And then favorite or dream car, or are you driving?
I'd have to say 1967 Shelby Mustang.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't have it, but yes, that's the dream car.
Nice. Did I ask you morning or night person?
Morning, yeah.
Yeah. And okay, so and then your family, are they like morning or night or just everything?
My wife is a night owl, so that's fun. We don't match there at all. The whole family can't get up in the morning, which is probably why I'm a morning person, because I get a ton of work done.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What type of work in the morning?
I do the deep work in the morning, so all the mission critical things, because throughout the day as business owner, as you know, you get interrupted constantly. So the 3-hour block that I have for myself in the morning is just prime.
Just go.
Yeah.
And a curious question on that, because I think environment is important, and I'm learning to ask those follow-ups. So what environment in that morning's like sessions do you go for?
It's funny you say, because we just had to talk to our team about this yesterday, where I was describing my morning routine, and I used to just get up and have the nice cup of coffee and sit on the couch and chill. But I noticed when I was doing that, I was getting about a third of the amount of work done, because you put yourself in that spot where you are distracted normally. Like the couch is where I watch TV, I converse with the family, I scroll Instagram, at nighttime. And so when I'm there in the morning, I naturally want to pop my phone out and be like, what's going on in social media?
Wow.
So I transitioned about a month and a half ago to the dinner table, which is not where I do that stuff for the work, and it's so much more productive. But
yeah, I think you guys wherever you're sitting on the couch or scrolling, like you just said, or on the toilet or wherever, it's the environment is such a big play, and I think that's what I appreciate. Just noticing from entrepreneurs like Brian with Colorado Family Roofing, and I noticed this in my life too. And I'm going to get back to this other question. I tried this experiment where I day traded in the mornings, and that's the only way I could wake up. So let me kind of explain it. I had to get excited to wake up, and I would still do my other stuff, and this was a while back. But what I learned, the best lesson I learned was actually the gym. They had like a little coffee table and a bunch of people talking and walking around. But for that trading environment, it gave me energy to stay awake, to stay focused, because you're waking up at 4 o'clock and you're hitting the pre-market 4:30, and it's just it was a discipline I could take away. But now I'm like, oh cool, I'm using that at DJM.
Yeah.
You're using it. Where did that come from?
yeah, well, I mean, it's actually a really great point, because
I'll hold this for you while you talk about that.
So Hermosi, the mentor that I have, he constantly preaches like the morning routine is stupid. Like everybody, all these Instagram posts and everything, like get up and do your meditation in the hot tub and all. He's like, it's ridiculous.
Wow.
Which that's what I was doing for a long time. And then I'm like, well, if Hermosi says it, then I have to follow it. So I started getting up and just going straight to work.
Right.
However, I noticed I didn't want to get up anymore. Just like you said, you have to get excited to wake up. And so all of a sudden I started hitting the snooze button, which was never something I've done in like 10 years. I never snoozed.
Because you have to go work.
Because I had to get up and do stuff I didn't want to do. Like that's where I do the hard work.
With your family, or like,
right.
Because my wife is like that too. She's like, oh man, just a few more minutes, and I'm like, oh, I want to, so bad, but I know the risks that are at stake, and I actually fall into that trap. I'll go and sit in a hot tub or sit in the steam room, and I think every person's unique in a certain way, but you can literally be able to turn that on and off and like go for it.
Well, it's an important thing when you have mentors or online people or people that are giving you advice. Is you have to hybrid it. You can't listen to every single thing they say, and that was kind of the point that I was getting to.
Pick
is
one
like,
mentor, guys.
Like, yes, Hermosi was right in almost everything that he says, and I agree with, but in this aspect, I can't get up in the morning and just go, so I hybrid it. I do have that time in the morning where I do the hot tub and I just think, and I appreciate the job. Yeah. And then I get up and then I do the deep work. So it's important that you don't just take everybody is different. And
that's
so
true. Even
sort of somebody that you really respect and listen to and has been right on everything else, that doesn't necessarily mean it's right for you.
Yeah, I think I was writing on this board in the DJM office upstairs, and I wrote like, who are the mentors I want to be like? And I'm like, shoot, dang, there's 3 that I really like. It's Albert D. Lasker, Alex Hermosi, and then the future, which his name is Chris Dew. He's a design agency owner who sold his business and now does consulting. And I'm like, that is so awesome, very good for him, build a model, and now he's teaching other agencies, and a little bit more niche than Alex. But the life that he leads, he's done the grind, and then now moved on to that. And so I feel, even in this show, like we bring cool guests here, and it's really finding what drives with you, and then going from there, right? Like the productivity method, of like tracking it back.
It's taking snippets, and then trying that little snippet, and like, wow, that actually worked, and then trying another snippet, and be like, that really sucked for me personally. So you hybrid it, and you mix it together.
Business owners, we're like professional gamblers. We just don't know it. Like I was literally saying this to my wife, like it is like day trading, because you have to find the wins in business, and some of those are traps.
Yeah.
And I know Mosey probably shares this a lot with you. So guys, we're going to talk a little bit more about Mosey at the end segment. The reason I brought Brian on is not only like the reasons I mentioned at the beginning. He's in a mentorship intensive with Mosey, and he's been flying to Vegas and all this stuff. So stay a little bit to the end to watch that piece, because I'm like dying to kind of dive into that thing and open it up. But this taste test is called. First taste it, and then I'll tell you what it's called.
All right.
Cheers, bud.
Trust you. Cheers.
This is our first one. This is not a bad one.
Oh.
This is South Africa at its best. So this is called a Rooibos espresso.
Okay.
It's an espresso tea, but it doesn't have caffeine. It's got antioxidants. It's really good for your gut.
Gotcha.
South Africans, I shipped rusks, which is another taste test. It didn't come in time, but you dip the rusk in there, and like your grandmas would make them like shortbread, warm culture, I always tell people, bring culture, find American culture, and then bring it wherever, because the hustle of America can like get you lost in not enjoying this stuff.
It's like a green tea with milk.
There we go. And that's what I was going to ask you to explain it and describe it. So from a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you rank it? You still got a few other things to rank, but yeah.
Yeah, man. You know what? I think, not a huge tea guy, but I think I'd give it a 6, because it's a unique twist on the tea. So.
See, Brian, you're like a guy of very specific wording and specific numbering, and that's what I want to get into next year, because something that blew me away was your origin story, and just hearing you. So I sat down with Brian at Buffalo Wild Wings, and we just started talking. We dabbled with AI stuff, which we'll talk about, but you started in lawn care, and you did a few other things along the hustle, but this story really impacted me in a deep way. Just tell people what you went through to become like a top salesperson at one of the biggest marketing firms, and that journey, because I think people need to hear it.
Yeah, so I started my career, my early 20s after college, working for the city government. I ended up at the city of Greeley, actually, where we are right now.
The ice house, right?
Down the road. And I hated it. I despised working for the city environment.
Totally.
It was almost to the point where it was a 30-minute drive for me, and when I was driving to work, I felt like,
just coming back. Wow.
Felt like I was going to prison. Like, wow. I'm driving to prison. And so I hated it so much, I started racking my brain, like, what do I know how to do? I did not take college seriously. I went there to go play football. So I had no plans. I just ended up at the city job, making like $42,000 to $45,000 a year, which was just enough to scrape by. At the time I had a wife, 2 kids, a mortgage, and a baby on the way.
That's crazy. Were you playing football with Samson at any point?
No.
Samson's your cousin.
Roughly the same time, but different schools.
So I know, another way I know Brian is through Samson, who I was on Samson's show. We've been trying to get him on the show. He's a little busy as well, but it's crazy how this part of the world, there's so many of they're a cool family, and I'm like, how do you guys just like have hands of gold? Like, tell me everything.
Well, I have 36 cousins for one, so wow. The odds are there's a good portion that are going to be really good at stuff, and another that's not.
So you guys all look, I hear you. Anyway, so you go through that hustle.
Yeah, so I figured out the only thing that I really know how to do in college. I mowed lawns with commercial equipment. I know how to work commercial mowing equipment, and so I started looking into lawn care. And at the time, I had a $5,000 credit card. I had no savings, and like I said, I had to make $2,400 a month to pay our bills. And so I talked to my wife. I'm like, here's my crazy idea. And God bless my wife. She always has believed in me. She's like, if you think you can do it, I believe in you. You go get it. So I quit my job. I had 0 clients. I just quit. I financed the truck.
So you did the entrepreneur risk thing.
Total risk. Yeah. And literally 0 clients other than my mom and my wife's mom. Which,
nice.
So,
literally mom and pop.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
But I quit because I knew I had to go all in or else it wasn't going to happen.
Totally.
And that's kind of the way I've always done my life. And I don't recommend that for everybody. Yeah. But in my situation, I know that I won't get it done unless that risk is there, and I have to go get it.
Wow. Just listen to that again, right? So he's coming from a place of not everyone has this. Okay, I don't have this. There's a need to push through the risk and push through the opportunity, but there's a healthy pullback, and I think you talk about this healthy pullback from switching from the lawn care. So you maxed out the lawn care, right? I know you scaled that business. Mm-hmm. You were doing everything in as much as you can. And then what happened when the marketing thing came about and how you pushed sales on that?
Yeah, so we were doing, I did scale the business. We were so busy, and I was working from 5 a.m. in the morning till 8 o'clock at night when it's too late to turn the mower on. So, and it was just me and one guy, some part of the years, and he'd go to college, and it was just me mowing, 130 lawns a week. So I did scale it, but not like in the people area of scaling. I scaled it in number of clients. So my wife, so we had 4 kids now, and she wanted to stay at home and take care of the kids. So I said, okay, you manage the lawn care business, and I'm going to go work at this marketing agency, because I really wanted to learn marketing anyways. So again, another risk. We had this business, but my wife had never run a business before.
A little safer of a leap because you had one thing to go from.
We had some income, which was much safer. But again, starting at 0, the marketing company paid $30,000 a year plus commission.
Wow,
so almost all commission based.
Yeah. Very difficult to survive. Yeah.
So we did have to replace her income as a teacher. So I knew I had to make, first year I had to make $55,000, $60,000 a year to replace her income because she was taking over my income.
Yeah. Little did you know that you were actually very skilled at some of this stuff, right?
Yeah, so I dive into it, and again, it was like, okay, I have to make this work, and I have to make it work very quickly because I'm replacing $60,000 vacancy immediately. So again, just putting ourselves in that situation, but turns out it's very hard to manage a lawn care business if you were just coming from being a teacher. And we knew absolutely nothing about hiring and managing employees. Complete dumpster fire.
You just gave it a shot though.
Complete dumpster fire. Like, we made so many mistakes, and what ended up happening is, these employees would not get the lawns done. So I would end up for a long period of time going to work at the marketing agency at 5 a.m. in the morning, working until noon, then grabbing the equipment and mowing until 8 to finish up what all the other guys were messing up and screwing up all day, so we could keep that going. So it was still 5 to 8. Now I'm managing 2 businesses, and so very quickly into that, about 4 months, we were like, let's sell the lawn care business. Let me focus solely on this marketing thing. And so again, like now I have to replace another, at that time, $80,000 of income.
Wow. Just from a lawn care business, that's crazy. Did someone end up buying, or did you guys?
I did, yeah. So I sold it to the guy that we had actually brought on to manage it. So that was one of the pivots we made. It's like, we have to get someone that knows what they're doing to manage it, and he did a great job. Yeah. And so that took it away from me, and then I was just like, let's sell it. And at the time, I did not have this knowledge, but it was one of the Hermosiisms. It's like, focus on one thing at a time. The more spread out, and this is something that I've had to learn and relearn throughout my life, and you're probably going to ask me other questions about this mistake. But I've had to relearn this over and over, is get the singular focus and just go all in on that. And then that's when you succeed. And that's when I started making, $300,000
Wow.
the marketing agency.
I was gonna ask, like, how much of that drive in you, because all of us have different motivating pieces, and it is hard as an entrepreneur because you do want to do all those other things, and everyone tells you do the side hustle to get out of the job, and sometimes that's what's needed and required, right? Like in an opportunity. But how much of the motivation was from the family, knowing that you had to provide? Was it spiritual? Was it God that you were like, I need to make this happen and be like faithful and fruitful? What was that driver for you? Because there's a huge gap where you went to that singular focus and then all of a sudden that exploded, but you were also in the right vehicle.
Yeah. I don't know quite how to explain it. It is, a lot of it is, I will make this happen because I have to. When you don't give yourself outs or other options or plan Bs, I don't have a lot of plan Bs in my life.
Wow.
It's this or nothing. I think you find a way to make it happen. And a lot of it, I think, like you said, is like God. It's, when you have this gut feeling, I don't know how to explain it other than gut. Faith, gut feeling, it's just like, you know this is the right thing to do and you feel it in your bones, then just go. Just go.
See, I have a plan F, G, E, D.
Yeah.
Brian's known me long enough where like we integrate, or we'll like go through a process and we like have tons of steps. And we get to the minimal viable product as quickly as possible, the MVP, and we went through this hustle of a project that I'll talk a little bit about in a sec. Let me just double check this. So I've got one other question and a taste test that we got pulling up here. So let's do that, and then I'll make sure we have enough time. But what are the biggest lessons from, how did you scale sales? What did that look like? And like, why were you so good at it that you could reach one of the top tiers in the company? Obviously things change in companies and things like that, but what was that lesson?
With the marketing agency?
Yeah.
The lesson with I think that was sheer competitiveness in that environment with the marketing agency, and I don't condone it, and
Sure.
I didn't like it, but at the time it was such a competitive environment. It was almost like being back in college football, which some people love, like me, and some people do not thrive in. But the constant
boiler room, like the same thing.
Boiler rooms type stuff. The constant, like, here's the leaderboard, here's,
we need a movie. Like, when are you guys gonna make a movie about this? I've literally been waiting. Like, I've been waiting a couple of years for that turnaround story. Okay, I see. So because of that, not military, but like because of that environment, it enables this brutal opportunity to have to execute. Hermosi has perspective on that too, but I feel like there's a little bit of a gentle edge there too. I think he pushes his team really hard. I don't know the inner workings. I mean, you've seen some of that. Is it similar or different?
Completely different. Okay. So and this is why, so I took so many lessons from that marketing agency that I worked at, and I was employee number 70, I think, and by the time 4.5 years later, there was over 500 people, so they were adding 80 to 100 people a year. Wow. So I saw this thing from small business into corporate, and I saw the growth, and I saw all the mistakes they made.
Sure.
And so now when I think back on how they built and scaled it,
it was like a breeding ground to learn what to do and not to do.
Mostly what not to do. And which, God bless them, they did what they thought was right, and I got to see firsthand all of the mistakes that they made. And so now with my business, we literally, when I have decisions or things to make or when we're scaling, I think to myself, what would they do? And I typically do the exact opposite.
I thought about it a lot, and it's literally like, when you have, so you have this goal and you're pushing a train up a hill, but now all of a sudden the train's coming downhill. Actually, no, it's coming back, and you have to constantly do better than what you did before. Otherwise, the train continues to like shift into that position. And if the model isn't right, goodness gracious, now you have like 500 people that are struggling with the model, and you know, technology changes. So it's a literal, the people who get it right, like the Elons or the, you know, Jeff Bezos or the Hermosis, some of that it's got to be making those quick pivots and being blessed or luck or you know, being able to execute in a massive scale. I always question why they don't always reach that level. Could be one bad partner, could be a couple of bad customers, right? And so I want to get to your exit because that's important. We're going to jump into the next taste test, but I got to reset these guys quickly.
Is this a black or a green?
So it's not actually a coffee-based tea. It's made out of a rooibos, which is in Afrikaans, my language that I speak there. It's like a bush that they turn a tea into, and so there's no caffeine. But it's because of the coffee because of the steamed milk and the way it's made, it tastes like that.
So it's not a coffee or a tea. It's a bush. It's like a berry. Right?
Yeah, I don't even know the definition. Like my father-in-law is like, he knows all these weeds and stuff. We're playing golf the one day, and he's like, oh, I know what weed that is, and he just grabs and starts eating it. And the amazing thing in our family is we just call we say Michael Scott moment, you know, from The Office. But literally, man, he knows the weeds. He knows, like, he runs an insurance agency that's pretty large, like the marketing firm you're with. They've stayed family focused, but now I'm seeing more and more that they want to go for this big goal, and they got acquired, and it's like things are changing and the pressure's coming down, you know, trips are changing, and it's like tough because if you're going to hit those massive goals, your culture changes. And I think that's what breaks things.
That's what breaks things.
And who we're serving, how we're serving them, it's hard. It's hard.
The big takeaway from exactly that is where that culture breaks is, and this is the lesson I learned, is you're either transactional or you're relational. And when you're transactional, everything is fixed and focused on that, and you have to be a relational company in everything you do. And and that's what the difference is between Hermosi and the agency, is that they have a relational type of experience for both the customer and the employees, whereas the agency was straight transactional numbers.
Yeah, you can't always push things through a spreadsheet, right? Or like get them through your numbers. So the next taste test we have here is, I should put this here, is a very different one. So this is going to be extremely crazy. You're going to take a spoon and then put a little bit on the rice cake like this. You've probably seen this in countries like Australia, but South Africa has it too. This is a South African branded one. My audience has seen this so many times too. It's like, but yeah, go for it, man.
All right. Ooh.
It's not supposed to be nice. I mean, it is, but.
Oh, hang on a minute. That is very interesting.
What it tastes like to you?
That is like, there's no words in my language to explain that.
How would you pronounce it? It's pretty straightforward.
Marmite?
Yeah, Marmite.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a beef stock version of it.
That's it, beef stock. Okay. My wife would have killed you if you would have given her that. She hates the beef stock.
It's like some of the worst tasting stuff. My parents put it on our bread for school and stuff, just to change it up. And my wife was like peanut butter and jelly all day, every day.
Yeah,
so
that's very interesting.
From a scale of 1 to 10, taking your wife into account.
I don't hate it. Okay. I would give it a solid 4. A nice little taste is fine. I think as a snack, that's definitely not going to work for me.
That's like one of Manny the Mannequin's favorite pranks. He's like laughing over your shoulder. he's kind of positioned weirdly on the set. But guys, this is all we can fit in, okay? I'm going to drop a little sponsor segment here. You guys go check that out, and then we'll be right back. Welcome back. So, you know, those little segments really get the show moving, and it pushes people to things that they don't always see about DJM and what's going on and how we're changing. You know, we have like the workshop stuff, the merchandise, and some of the consulting things we're working on as well. But yeah, if you guys are ever curious about that, that is why we put it out there, because we're trying to do our own internal stuff before pushing too much external. And all the things that you see here can usually be found on Amazon, which, bless my heart as a South African, I'm so happy. And also King Soopers has a few of these goodies. So like the next one we're gonna do is this one, the Nando's hot sauce. Okay. Or actually, yeah, Biltong maybe is the next one. Save the hot stuff for last, man.
That Marmite will keep tasting it.
Yeah. So what you got to know about it is it's like a lingering flavor. You eat lunch at school at like 12 o'clock, you know, but like 3 o'clock you're still tasting Marmite.
That's gonna be with me for a while. Yeah.
Like go eat some gum. You don't want to flirt with a girl after eating Marmite. Yeah. It's like coffee but worse. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the lessons from that marketing company. I love it. Transitioning into Colorado Family Roofing. This is such a bright story for me, and I know a little bit about it. But going now from, okay, I have a stable job, I'm making pretty good money, you know, company's changing. So what did that look like for you? And talk us through that. Like, talk us through the tips and the strategy you had in mind.
The transition from the marketing agency.
Because I mean, you were upper suite. You know, you still had you had vested interest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had shares. I had a very marketing director title. I had a team of 50 that I was in charge of. So I was very successful, but it was interesting. It was another God thing where, there's no way I wasn't enjoying my life because specifically of the transactional business model that what had been created there. And so you don't go home at the end of the night feeling great about yourself, even though you're making a ton of money. And you're trapped when you're making that much money because you're like, I can't do this anywhere else. And you're
golden handcuffs.
You're racking your brain. How can I get out of this? My family's become accustomed to this type of income. So we were at the very same time, we were going through a lot of family, just struggles. We were having.
How do we deal with this? It's a difficult thing to solve.
Yeah, I'm depressed at work. I'm coming home frustrated. My wife's, having health issues and all kinds of stuff. And then right at the start of all that stuff, kind of compounding, the company decided to make a major shift, and they basically took all of the top performers, sliced their income and redistributed it as basically socialism to other people, and then I was in charge of like overseeing and managing those people, but my income got cut in half.
So big companies who are listening, a lot of times you can continue on the scale that you're at, but sometimes employees are just looking for the thing that breaks the camel's back. Mm-hmm. They're just looking, they're waiting. So, and you employees and us people who watch this, we know this to be true. Think of companies like Airbnb. Think of companies like Uber, or they have some sort of a way to still make the work environment continue and flourish.
Yeah.
You just don't want to break the camel's back if you can avoid it. But I do understand, because I heard this. I don't know if it was from Alex, but he said basically you have two buildings. You want the big building, but you're trying to build it on top of your little building. Mm-hmm. It's impossible. Yeah. You have to break the whole thing. Yeah. And like, okay, let's fix it now. Yeah. But that's, okay, so that happened.
Yeah, so that happened, and so it was a perfect opportunity for me to say, okay, I can't replace $300,000. I'm miserable. I hate this job. Yeah. But I can probably replace 150 because that's what I'm currently at now. So, and so I had worked for a lot of roofers during that process, and I'm just thinking to myself, if I were to start another business, it ain't gonna be lawn care because that is very hard to scale.
Just look at the metrics. You're like, roofing.
Yeah.
They're all crushing it. How in the world do I do that? Because it's like, there's a model there. Mm-hmm. Right, and you guys had cracked that in this company.
So again,
open one of these. So, okay, cheers to this. I'll just carry on. So these are yerba mates. Cheers. Better than Celsius. It's made out of tea as well. Very few ingredients. Guys, what we put in our bodies is so important as entrepreneurs and as people. So I feature this in another episode.
That is delicious. I'm glad you gave me this after that because I'll wash it.
Look at the calories too. It's zero, and then 3 for sugars.
Yeah.
So your morning fast is what I like to use it for.
Okay.
Up until like 1 or so.
Is this caffeinated? I like caffeine.
So now we got caffeine.
Yeah, all right.
Just not too much, right?
That's the one right there for your audience.
The caffeine thermometer, man, like once it breaks that thing, it screws up a lot of things. For guys, it screws up a lot of things. For there's like a healthy balance where you're like in the prime, and you can, the better you get it, you can, like, your body can tell you over it. But some people, they just keep going. But for me, I have a very nice healthy balance.
Yeah, I need to learn that.
I'm a ginger. Like I have my little fortes, you know, and I love caffeine too, you know. But especially when you're hustling and you're working, you're like, oh yeah, I'll just drink that next cup of coffee. I'll just, and then by like 6 o'clock, you're like, what the heck that have I done? Yeah. And it's like this, the you know, like when the lights go off and they're just like, ooh, and then you're like. And your wife's like, are you a druggie? Like, what's wrong with you? You snap you. Yeah. It's like, go back to work and calm down. Yeah. She's like, sit in the car and detox. And I'm like, okay, I know what it was. It was a coffee. And now I'm like short with clients. Anyway, what would you scale this year by Mate, even though you've had it?
Oh, that's easily an 8. I like this. This is I'm going to buy me some of this.
So Natural Grocer Sprouts here in Colorado.
Very good.
Not bad. Okay, so anyway, so now you're like 150K, got to make the shift.
Yeah, and so again, I quit. So I put in my 2 weeks notice, and then I start just full on with the roofing company.
Yeah, just cut the tie and go.
I had to, right? Because that job was so intensive. It was 50, 60 hours a week, and so there's no way to build and scale with 4 kids, and you know, I coach football. Like I can't do a side hustle with this.
Plus, I mean, yes, there's a little hack, right? He's using a method called like a slingshot method, where you go from the one to the other, but you slingshot into the next thing. But between going from here to the slingshot is very difficult. And granted, you had a little bit of a safety net. It seems like you had built equity and stuff. I don't know if we're allowed to say that on the show.
Yes, no, that's fine.
Okay, so yeah, he had built equity, so there's a small cushion, but it's nothing that's cashable.
Yeah. So this time, rather than, all right, I have 1 month to figure it out, starting this business, I had a 3-month runway. So not a lot, because although I was making a lot of money, we're really good at spending it. Yeah. Another lesson I learned about making money: start sacking that stuff away.
Yeah. How did you manage the family? Like, how did you? I watched this guy called Ramit Sethi. I've been absorbing his information. Like, he sits with couples, man, and it's uncomfortable, man. But they get through it, and like my eyes are like wide, because he talks about the stuff as couples, you sometimes just don't want to talk about, or you're like, oh yeah, I do just like to go to Starbucks, or why is this thing from Target in our house now? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do we need that? But then you're like, oh, the kids do kind of need it, you know? So then you like feel bad. Like, it's like, I hate that. Like, life shouldn't be so like.
Yeah.
And then like you run behind, and it's kind of and then you have inflation. So now I feel bad for everyone. Okay, like
yeah.
Even the rich guys I feel bad for.
Yeah.
But how did you have that? Not come to Jesus talk, but like, yeah, how did you do that with the family? As a dad, as a father, as a husband?
In terms of like spending the money, or
how did you talk to everyone, and how do you say like, this is what's happening, how are we going to spend, and
you know, the beautiful thing about my wife and I's relationship is that I don't think we've ever once had an argument about money.
Wow.
Which is, I think, really unique.
That's crazy.
We've just always been on the same page with it, and she's always trusted me. And that support has really, and that's why I've been able to do this 4 times, is I just, you know, regardless of money, you know, we would she'd live under a bridge with me, you know, if it came to that, and having that empowerment and that backing behind you, I think is, for all you wives or husbands that are supporting your wives, you know, it is the most critical thing for an entrepreneur, because they can't worry about, you know, is my family going to leave me if I don't make enough money, or if this doesn't work? The support is unbelievably important.
They need to be behind the vision 100%.
Yeah.
So all the time, every time, you know, no doubt. I love it. And like, you can get your spouse and your partner there. I've seen it happen, like I was saying with that show. There's just groundwork and things you got to get out of the way. Cool. So everyone adjusted pretty well. Yeah. Did you have to downscale house, or?
No, fortunately we didn't have to downscale the house, but we did have to, you know, do the, here's the amount of cash that you have to spend, and you put the credit card and the bank card under a pillow and you don't use it. And so once you're out of that cash, you're done. And so that's how we adjust it. Like
cool.
My wife gave me, and I still to this day, she gives me an allowance. And that's the cash I have for whatever I want, but most time it goes to, kids and McDonald's. But
yeah, and you have to separate those so much. I know my wife and I, we had learned a lesson about, you can be like, oh yeah, this is a business meeting, and you just kind of get too far away, but then in your business you're like, that's a different budget from personal, and not like the like we would spend it correctly, right? Like her client would go to the meeting, whatever. But what we noticed very quickly was we were not looking at the whole budget as a family, and then you get out of whack because you're, let's say it's a credit card or whatever, and so you adjust quickly, and not having that credit card, now you can book the trip you want to book without having to use credit card points all the time. Like I think there's function there, but at the end of the day, it's like I would rather pick where I want to go. Like if I had to look through Chase and American Express's hotel lineup, it's cool, but my kids sleep better in like an Airbnb.
right.
And we cook our own food and we have a beautiful time, and it's like, oh, this is awesome. That's like Arizona trip, beautiful place. Get away from the snow. But okay, anyways, back to your story.
Yeah, so cut the ties with the marketing agency. It was rough.
Yeah.
It's
hard.
Lost a lot of friends and everything else like that. But anyways, so we started the roofing business from scratch, and in Colorado, it hails the second biggest hail market in the nation.
Okay.
I happened to start the roofing company on a 3-year dry spell, so no hail whatsoever. But again,
and insurance agencies changed how they were doing the
absolutely, and still constantly
they
are.
keep doing
The insurance company. We go on another episode about that.
I know. Like I want to get into something I was going to ask about here was so the roofing companies. It's amazing what you've done there. You guys can go check it out at Colorado Family Roofing. He had some things where we had shifted domains. Brian's really good at seeing opportunities, so he allows people like us on the web and marketing side to execute cool initiatives. One of those stories I just want to get ahead of because I thought it was incredible. Just as how this thing played out blew my mind. So he hired us to build an AI calling system thing, and not to mention any names and stuff. We worked really hard, did everything we could with this company, and we built something in 4 months that, and thanks for spending the time and the money with that. But at the end of the day, that company just couldn't follow up, even though the system would work every now and again. And then they had their struggles, and the promises were like this, but the deliverables were like this,
Yeah.
And so Brian had to walk away. The thing was booking meetings, and I feel like he took a risk of $100,000 for a license, and I was like, yes, someone has a license. Because I was literally looking. I'm like, I'm not going to spend $25,000 to $100,000. I'd rather do the piggyback strategy, go with someone. And so I love that piece, and then just tell people how you got to mirroring the domains and some of the marketing strategies as well that you've been looking at, because he knows SEO, and we once tried to go for a domain purchase to make his more rooted. How did that all play out? Because I think not every owner has the brain to not the brain. Not every owner, not every person is going to see the opportunities right when they come.
Yeah.
So
it's a blessing and a curse, obviously, because a lot of times there's always the next big opportunity or thing that you think is going to give you the advantage in your company.
Yeah.
And I guess my business philosophy has always been I want to explore this as safely as possible.
Yeah.
So with the AI calling center, it was $100,000, as you know, to purchase this license to get to see if we could utilize this technology.
With the guarantee, if that doesn't work, money back.
Money back guarantee after 3 months.
We hit the marks too. Brian and I went and we just we need this thing to do this many calls. We need to do the right people. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. And still, I mean, no bueno.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
In my mind, that it wasn't much of a risk. It was $100K of cash flow that we were risking, essentially, which was a lot of. I mean, cash flow is king.
Yeah.
So that was part of the risk. But for
you could see the sales too, and you could see the back door, right? So like Brian had you had like 3 or 4 outs in a way.
Right.
So
Right.
that's important in entrepreneurship. Always have an out. Always look through the contracts and like give yourself the negotiating power. Like Chris Voss talks about it, Alex Sabosi talks about it. At the end of the day, it's empathetic. You just you were trying to be nice and still say like, how can we make this work? So
yeah, but partnering with you and DJM on the technology, it opened up a lot of information, and we learned a lot of cool lessons for not a ton of risk or money.
Sure.
And the system that you guys built out was pretty phenomenal for certain aspects, but not necessarily for roofing.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it was very valuable for both of us.
Yeah.
But as soon as, I don't know if you know what people know about the rules of AI calling technology.
Oh, yeah, you can share it.
As soon as, basically as soon as we got this thing onboarded with you and I, the policy came out that this is now classified as a bot and you're not allowed to cold call, which was my whole strategy was to cold call folks with using an AI bot to book an inspection.
And mine was just, I had hot leads that I wanted followed up on, and that worked fine. Like we were booking, for every 10 calls, we were booking 2 meetings. It was like, whoa. And then when the hot leads were semi-good, so it was still a challenge, but I was like, this is insane.
And
so
that's where it works.
Guys, there's a new one out now that I've been looking at. There's always going to be a new one, I guess. But I'm using it and I'm trying to onboard it on the workshop. So we got Maximize AI 2.0. Shout out to Brandy, okay? This is how I met Brian. So network your freaking butt off, guys, okay? That's like the key to finding people. But I met Brandy, who sponsored our workshop with Colorado Family Roofing. Shout out to you, girl, man. You keep crushing it. You're fun to kind of see out there. But she connected us through the workshop sponsoring, and then it was a cheap sponsorship. I think it was like $300, and then we just kind of connected and retouched base.
Yeah.
So Brian was already thinking about AI. So
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, the best marketing strategy you've done so far with roofing that you feel like?
It's funny because I came from the digital marketing world, right? And that's what I knew and had been trained on. Turns out I didn't know anything about actual marketing. Even spending 5 years in a marketing agency, when I get into the real world, you're like, holy cow, there is so much more information and things out there. So the funny thing is, although I have that background, the majority of what we do is old school marketing.
It is, and it works.
It's mailers, it's, just going in person and to the door. So, I mean, we still have a digital aspect, and a lot of that is honestly built around brand recognition.
Yeah.
And then the direct stuff comes from your traditional avenues of marketing.
It's so crazy because it depends on the business. But with every client, I tell them we build the castle, build the moat, build the city, bring the traffic into the city in every avenue we can. It doesn't have to be digital. Digital always just is trackable, and that's what gets sold.
Yeah.
Which, yes, it is trackable, doesn't always work. This next guest we have on this other show, she's got a candle company, and I kid you not, like, it's so ripe. Like, she's got diffusers and this and that, and it's homemade, it's non-toxic, all this stuff. It's popping on TikTok, it's popping on Instagram, popping on Facebook. I'm like, what is it? Like, but it's her style. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's very unique to her, like, little products and stuff. Mm-hmm. So for that, digital marketing is golden. Mm-hmm. And TikTok is like the new eBay, Anyways, this is the next taste test. It's called biltong. This is South African beef jerky. And they don't cook it. It's preserved with different spices. And it's more like steak because slightly less chewy, but this one's pretty chewy. This is the chili lime flavor. Put some on the plate.
That's good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is quality stuff, man. So this is the brand I like. It's called Kalahari. Kalahari is a desert in South Africa. And like Khoisan people, like these natural like hunting. They've been there for thousands, like forever, right? That's what it's named after, that big desert.
You know, I'm noticing with all of these foods, there's kind of an undertone of like an earthiness to the South African.
I can't wait for you to try this.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like that we covered marketing. Marketing is also like taking risks, and sometimes, and I think you're probably learning this at Alex and Mosey stuff because I want to dive into that. But you went to all these workshops,
yeah.
You came back, and then I saw a commercial, and I was like, "What is he doing?" So Brian, tell us about this commercial. Tell us about like what were you doing, and like how did this all come together?
Yeah, so speaking of traditional marketing, we've been doing radio with Philip Lindsay from 104.3 The Fan. So that's how we got kind of introduced into Philip Lindsay. And we'd done it throughout the whole summer, and they're like, hey, we want you to renew through Bronco season. And we're like, the numbers were right on the borderline of us renewing. And so I'm thinking to myself, all right, like if they want me to renew, I'm going to get some leverage out of this. So I said, I'll do it, but I want a 1 hour video shoot with Philip. Like no strings attached. He has to do exactly what I tell him to do. And so Philip, he's been a great partner, like a really good sport, really cool dude. Philip Lindsay, very cool guy, especially when it comes in terms of like celebrities, because we've worked with a couple as well, and Philip's awesome.
And so you bet him like what, $1,000?
I bet, we bet him $1,000 foot race that I could beat Philip Lindsay, and we just had a lot of fun with it. You'll have to check it out. Maybe we can link the commercial on your
we'll
page.
pop it up in here, guys, and have it in the description. But I was just surprised to see you wearing a headband, man. Like, this is, but I can see it. I mean, I bet the high school, like college, Brian. I'm sure you had a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
Cool. So we are.
Hey, Colorado. It's Brian Barnes, owner of Colorado Family Roofing, and I'm here with my friend Philip Lindsay, former Denver Bronco football star, and I've bet him a foot race that if I can beat him, he's going to join my old man flag football team.
Brian, that is true. But if I win, which I will, you're going to have to discount every roof in the state of Colorado with $1,000 off.
These are big stakes, Phil. How do you feel about your chances?
Brian, I'm a professional athlete. How do I break this down to you? You're slow, man.
We'll see about that, sir.
What the?
That was close. I almost had you there for a minute.
You know what, Brian? A deal's a deal. Colorado, call the Colorado Family Roofing team. Let them know that Brian is slow and you get $1,000 off your roof. And while you're at it, tell them to upgrade your 50-year resistant shingles for free.
Wait, what? That's fine.
I've also noticed with trying a lot of stuff, eventually you do land on what works. And you do land on, like, for example, this segment's longer. I don't know if I mentioned it in the video, but we're doing these longer segments because one of our best episodes was with Jordan Beck. It was a 50-minute, and he's an NFL football player. And his story is just like yours. It's wild, you know. So I'm going to move to this next thing here. What is the wildest thing you've seen at the Hermosi event where just other companies or things that have come up and you're just like, what in the world?
Yeah. I mean, been doing Hermosi, I've done 2 of these. There's a package of 3 where I go down to Vegas. We explore what the business is really doing, and then they give you feedback, and then you go and implement it. So that's a series of 3. So that's kind of how they work. Super valuable. I do recommend them for people that are in the stage where they can afford that.
Si te encanta el olor a calabaza como a mí, a pumpkin spice, tú necesitas esto. Esto es un spray para las habitaciones. Yo lo he hecho en donde sea. Y esto es como tener o echar el olor de una vela de calabaza. A mí este olor me fascina, no es para todos, pero si lo amas, esto es para ti. Intensidad, duración y olor fuerte, como me gusta a mí, que se sienta el olor. Y si quieres que tu casa huela como una calabaza, como digo yo, esto es para ti.
You need this. It's a room spray. I've used it everywhere. It's like spraying the aroma of a pumpkin candle. I'm captivated by this scent. It's not for everyone, but if you love it, this is for you. Intensity, duration, and strong aroma. Just the way I like it. If you want your house to fly like a pumpkin.
Okay, I make my own recipe at home for my family and friends and stuff. One time I sent it out to all my clients. It was so cool. But so it's salt, pepper, vinegar, balsamic vinegar or brown vinegar, and then coriander. But you have to put it in the fridge. So first you cut it in like certain shapes. And I have like a special cutting thing that my wife got me, which is just love.
Makes it really thin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You want it thin, man.
Yeah.
Some people like it thick. And then so you cure it first, and then you throw it in the fridge, and then you just see all the juices like kind of come out for 20. My rule is 24 hours. Take it out, then I hang it, and you hang it for 2 to 3 days, and that's gonna preserve it. So like in the bush or in South Africa, they make the stuff and it would last for such a long time. And not only did like South Africans, like from the English side, the Dutch side, the African side, Indian side, all of them were doing it. But the Afrikaans Dutch guys kind of started there's like these pop-up stores you just go and buy.
Yeah.
You're like, I want that, and it's like 6 different types, different animals, and you're like, this is so good.
Yeah.
So I miss that.
Yeah.
I don't miss the crime. I don't miss feeling like someone's gonna pull up in my driveway and rob my house. Hurt my wife or something.
Yeah.
I don't miss that. The politics there are, I'm surprised to say this, but American clown politics is getting really close to South African politics, But there's always hope. Man. There's more to business and the people getting real stuff done.
Yeah.
I just went to an event last night called G Beta, and they're doing an incubator in Greeley. And I worked with Matt Schaub, remember?
Yeah.
I did video for him, worked with his marketing person called Danielle-James. She got hired by these guys up in, I think it's in the north, like Pennsylvania or Rochester or something, I don't know.
Okay.
Dude, they're all over the place and they'd help like startups just scale. And then my SBA consultant knows them as well. She told me about a lady who got hired in Greeley, and I started the one in Greeley. The city managers were there, the economic development guys, like we want to get funds back into Greeley. They already funded one of my friends, RV Fiber.
Okay.
So he does RVs with fiber.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. So the opportunities are coming, and I was like, I didn't even see their funding kickoff, and I wish I did. But I went there, I'm like, Ali, I know Danielle, and she emailed me before she started. And she's like, is Wyoming and Greeley a good place for startups? I'm like, if you're looking for a brand new place, it's great. And it's a gem in its own right.
Yeah.
If you live here.
Right.
It's different. So, okay, back to the show. So that was a bonus piece, guys.
You didn't let me rate it.
Yes. First, actually go back to your story, and then we'll rate it. Because
Okay.
I'll be like, I forgot.
All right.
Okay, so there's 3 tiers, Vegas, carry on.
Yeah, so the 3 tiers, they analyze, they advise, and then you go and implement, and then come back and they do it all over again. So it's super valuable, but I think the biggest takeaway from that, either with myself or the other businesses that were there, and they're, for the most part, it's decently expensive, so for the most part, fairly successful businesses.
Yeah.
Unless you just got a rich, uncle that gave you a bunch of money to go do it.
So you feel like Alex when he said, when he first did ClickFunnels, I saw the videos when he was in ClickFunnels, and I was like, he was so young, but you could see he felt like brand new to it. And now he's like, ClickFunnels is here, and he's like, he is like the thing.
Yep. But one of the biggest takeaways I learned was I am not, and most of the businesses there are not tracking data efficiently. You're tracking stuff, but the data to that team is so important. If you don't have it, that's what they tell you to go get, and they say come back, because we don't do gut feelings, we don't do guessing. Show us the data points and we'll tell you what to do. And that was the first lesson I learned from the first time. I came back with a few other tidbits, but I came back, I'm like, we're kind of tracking, but we're nowhere close to the scale that we need to be, and so we track literally everything
They're
now.
granularly tracking everything. And how are you guys doing that? Is that through the CRM or through analytics?
Through the CRM, through analytics, but a lot of it right now is manual. So setting up, tidbit of advice for your viewers, especially new entrepreneurs, the number one mistake that I made when setting up my business was not getting the correct CRM right away. So we've been through 7 or 8 CRMs, and so our data, and that's what my biggest problem was. My data was everywhere, and it was not concise or compact or
Granted,
anything.
the roofing CRMs weren't like plentiful, and they weren't great.
Yeah.
The support wasn't great, but you guys landed on one right now.
We landed on one which we like, and so yes, data is literally everything.
Man, I don't know if I can't show this on here right now, but there's a segment I do called the data grind, and I can re-emphasize that in the digital marketing space with email retargeting lists. Once we started feeding this one car dealership, we started feeding it old customers who had purchased, and then we told Google ads, and we used a few different types of campaigns. We used Facebook and TikTok as well. Shotgun approach, because then you can shotgun adjust. It's like, oh, my shotgun is shooting this way. Okay, cool. Shoot that way.
Right.
And so, what is phenomenal with that data is just the other day I was like, okay, guys. It's a slow season, it's an election time. I hate saying election on here because sometimes they freaking limit the video. The one time I used Uncle T's name, and that was on Matt Sharp's show. I couldn't boost the video. I couldn't get it out there because it just kept throttling.
Wow.
And then it said, sorry, we can't, this video is something.
Yeah.
What? You're blocking me? Come on, YouTube. I love you guys.
Yeah.
I worked my butt off for you guys. But no, we took the data and we were able to determine that exactly at 7 o'clock is the best time to start the campaigns, and exactly let's say 5 to stop, sometimes 3.
Yeah.
Then we removed certain gaps where people are at work.
Right.
Then we picked certain days. Then we went even deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until we found which campaign sets, and it's become so wild. But in a slow season, in a busy season, it didn't matter. I mean, we were just cranking leads, right? Going from 30, 40, 50 leads all the way down to now 10 a week for Google is not good. We usually at 20 to 30. So we're hitting 100 a month. And they were like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And they're like, is it the used car market and the election? So I'm like, let's pull up Google Trends.
Yeah.
And literally the graph does this.
Yeah.
Election, it's a presidential election and it says used cars. Used cars is like this for a downslope. But I told them, just wait. I think just wait. And granted, we don't know the results. We will know eventually. After that, people are going to feel confident.
Yeah.
You should watch this thing pop.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if you get hailstorms and winter ice slate stuff.
Yeah.
But we use a really cool marketing suite, and I feel like finally we have a lot of data information.
Yeah.
But here's my issue, guys. Be real honest with you. Sales, I can undercut myself every day, any day, and I'm sitting there expecting the person to give me value and saying, oh yeah, I'll pay more. But that's never gonna happen, right? When you're out there, and I think I'm learning this from you. Experiment, put the price higher and do more work or give more value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say sales, and we've talked a lot about sales because historically I've been very good. But what's funny about the thing that I went down to Hermosi? Guess the number one thing this time around that they said my weakness was?
No.
Sales.
Wow.
Yeah, and so
but you're running a business now. You're not just fully selling.
Exactly, and here's the takeaway is I was closing at 90%, and my sales team is closing at 52%. Currently.
Wow.
And we have more offerings, we have more hail, we have more incentives than ever before. Yet I was closing at 90, and my team's closing at 52%. So I got to sit down with Jacob he's in Hermosi's podcast, the young entrepreneur Jacob, who's his director and awesome guy. But we sat down, and it's so funny because when you have a team like that has so much experience, they instantly can just snap their fingers and be like, they get a small snippet of your story and they're like, I know exactly what's wrong. Because it's reps, and that's one of the things about Hormozy and just being around people that I've been around business so much, is they do so many reps that they can they hear these stories over and over and over.
Oh yeah.
And so they know exactly what your problem is and how to identify it. So I came back from this last one with this big long list of exactly what our problem is, which is we're selling a premium roof, which we sell the best roof in Colorado, and
you're local and I know you and I feel you.
Great reviews, everything, but we're doing it in t-shirts. And so people don't believe us. It almost feels like a scam because
that's your nice polo.
And thus my new outfit.
I love your nice polo. When you came through the door, I was like, "Oh, that's nice," but I didn't know what was nice. I just kind of
because you normally know me in a t-shirt and jeans, right?
Colorado guys, flip flops.
Yeah, but when I was selling, because that was me sitting in an office being a manager. That's how I dressed because that's how I was comfortable. Yeah. But when I was out selling, this was my outfit. And my team.
What did the Mosies look like? Like their salespeople, are they just fit?
They're very dressed up. They don't wear
like him.
Alex's.
But he's allowed to, right?
He's allowed because he has the cred enough to do it.
And he did that for a season. I mean, he was grinding phone calls. Like, I mean, you don't get to that level without doing that.
Yeah, they're all in suits.
Yeah. His story was so unbelievable when I first watched it. I was like, oh, this guy's a liar. Like, he's a fake guru, you know. And then he did it more and more, and people had it. When he was on Graham Stephan's show, that's when I was like, okay, I trust this guy now. Like, you know, or not Graham. I think he was on some other show too. But I was like, oh yeah, trust you.
Yeah, and that's one of the big takeaways from is just deliver insane amounts of value, do the right thing, and again, that's how we built the company initially. But just to have it constantly re-emphasized, like
quality, luxury. Yep.
Yeah, and we will get our butts kicked every once in a while, but if you continue to do that, eventually it's going to work.
Yeah, it is going to work. So this car dealer, they're much smaller, but you know what they put on their lot? Luxury. They put on, and I love it, Brian. Like, so think about this. A lot of my other used car dealers and other companies I work with, they're just putting certain vehicles that are affordable. Okay. And you can do low credit ads, you can do this and that, but it's more strict. When you have different, I don't want to give away the source here, but when you do luxury, it's a different strategy, and so no one else is doing it. So there's like this gap, and there's a certain type of wording, and there's a certain type of ways to deal with that customer, and all of a sudden it's like the finance manager is like smiling at me. He's like, dude, I love you, you guys are awesome. It's like, you bring me all the like good deals, you know. And it's funny because you just like put all the wording around that. I'm gonna throw a wrench in Alex Hormozy stuff because I'm very curious. And I said to Brian, I'm like, Brian, this Hormozy guy, it's like he's become your main chick, you know, like your side chick. I mean, you know, like, come on, like I had him booked for a podcast. I'm like, you know, I'll be your second-hand side chick if that's okay. But no, we love hanging out. So. The one thing that I realized too with the Mosies is, and I'm trying to figure this out, okay? So a lot of these successful couples or certain successful people, let me give you an example. Marcus Lemonis, you know, wasn't able to have kids, but he calls all his company people his kids. And I don't want to use kids as an example for not being successful, but there's different values that you go through as a dad when you have to grind it through with your wife. There's a different level of work that you want to commit to and give back to your kids. How do the Hormozys like handle that? And do you have to look past the value side and just say, hey, they are good at running business? I'm just going to look at the lessons. Am I taking it more emotionally? You're
100% right. And that's where I was going back to the morning routine. Like, you have to you can't take these mentors and literally everything they do, because I don't want the life. Like, okay, so Jacob, for example, the whole team there looks like vampires because they're completely white. It looks like they haven't. And so I was joking with him. I said, hey, you guys are all so white. Like, what's the deal? You know, he's like, I don't see the sun. He's there from Monday to Sunday.
Wow.
You know, sun up to sundown. He's there working, and he's like, we're building something special here, and he likes it, and that's their life. I'm like,
the same thing at me.
I don't want to be that special.
Yeah, no, exactly. Dude, when I went to meet Kevin's event, and he flew into Denver and parked the jet, got the team out. So I go in, and the first thing I noticed is they're all a little shorter than him.
Is he short or not?
Dude, if I stand up, like you can't see it now, he's kind of like here. He's not too short, but he's there, you know. Yeah. And very personable, super fun. He's actually he's the same guy on YouTube that he is in person. He talks super fast. Goodness, and his brain, like, he's able to pull a piece of knowledge or something very fast.
Yeah.
But his team was also white, dude. And he came in at like 11 o'clock. And they're like, oh yeah, this is the second one we've done today. So that means they were the third one. They're like in another city. Yeah. Kind of like the presidential jumps. But they can do it that way. And he'll like land in Colorado, go look at a house property, come back, whatever. But the other thing I noticed was I talked to them, I'm like, dude, how does he do this? Mm-hmm. And they're like, we don't know. Like, he's working all the time, doing all the stuff. Like, and now he took a vacation recently. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want that life. Yeah. But dude, the guy's got kids. He's got like 7. I think he's got now 7 kids, 6 kids. Beautiful. It's just a different way, right? Like, it's a different method. Mm-hmm. But I agree, right? Like, in entrepreneurship, it's not a cop out to. I think what we want is that. But that's a cop-out when I can be in Colorado and enjoy my family as well. Yeah. I don't know.
You really have to find the balance that's right for you, right? And if that means that Colorado Family Roofing is not going to be a $1 billion company, I'm good with that. Yeah. Because my kids just want my time. And again, I was listening to another...
you got 2 kids?
4.
4, okay.
Yeah. Cool. And I was listening to another YouTuber who was giving the exact same thing. He's like, my kids, asked me how much time would it take to keep me here for the weekend. And it was just like heartbreaking. He's like, but that's the price I'm paying for generational wealth. I'm like, I disagree. My kids don't want generational wealth. They want dad. Yeah. And so you have to decide, what type of business do I want? Yeah. Is it going to be worth sacrificing my family for it? No. Or do I want to build something else?
Yeah, Patrick Bet-David too is another great example. I mean, he keeps building the business around him. So like, he's in Florida, his whole family's there, and he's built the business there, and then now he's buying an airplane hangar and they're launching they're gonna go and watch the presidential election live at the hangar with like 2,000 people. I'm like, babe, I want to go, but I don't have to go. Because Joy loves the 5th of November. She's loved remember the 5th of November, like the bonfire day, like the guys who put the bombs under the parliament. Guy Fawkes. It's Guy Fawkes Day, dude. So stay tuned, right? It's gonna be crazy. But that's it for this show. We're gonna quickly grab last taste test, and then the next guest is coming in. This is my favorite. This is a hot sauce. How do you do with spice, bud?
I'm good.
Okay. Cool. So you can just put some on here. This has got the African bird's eye chili. We'll do a quick ranking of it too. Cool. Cheers. Takes me home.
Oh, very good.
This has a franchise in Chicago.
Okay.
This is the most popular chicken joint in South Africa, called Nando's. I mean, you go to the DMV, and like slow DMV service. Expect your documents to come up with some Nando's grease on it somewhere, I'm like, can you please help move this document quicker? Hey, ma'am, just wait, yeah? I'm going to quickly eat my chicken. And you're like, please, I need my documents. So you guys don't experience that in America. It's like that. My kids watch that Zootopia, where the sloths are like,
yeah.
And then the one tells the other a joke, and then the sloths are telling each other's jokes, and you're like, oh, please stop. Okay, guys, what would you rank did we rank the biltong? We did do that one.
The jerky?
Yeah.
We did not rank it. I'm gonna give that a 9. Very delicious. Yeah.
And then this one.
That's gonna get a 9 too. They put that on the jerky and we're in business.
Oh, heck yeah, man. That's what they do. This is a wonderful way to do it. Let me make sure I don't miss anything here, guys. Okay, last call out, guys. For your Colorado family roofing, what do you want people to know? How do you want to close this episode off? Is there any piece of advice that you think we missed for people?
The biggest thing is when you're building a business or doing business with a business, I think you want to look at the people that are going to be a relational business or a transactional. And those are the biggest takeaways that I've learned throughout my career. And that's what we named family roofing. Family stands for forget about me, I love you. Because once I came from the transactional side of the world, I just said, I want to do something that I feel good about every single day. I want to build the best product that I possibly can. I want people to feel like they've been treated fairly.
Yeah.
And to me, that comes far above any profit or numbers or anything else. And I think you just want to find other businesses and business owners that feel the same way and stay far away from the transactional ones.
So there you guys have it. As always, thanks for checking the MoneyBru Show. We try and keep it authentic, fun, and real. Special thanks to Stefan, who helps me with project management and the team. We're building out partnerships. I want you guys to know that things are moving and shifting within the MoneyBru Show. Go check out our TikTok products as well, because there's some cool swag. We just released a sneaker line, croc line, flip-flops for students, and ties to the workshops. Trying to do like a full circle, and you know what, it's starting to work. So we're seeing people request samples, and that's connecting them back into the business on a lower level, because we felt like we're so far from reach. But thanks for checking out the MoneyBru Show. It's Daniël-James, Brian Barn here, and as always, cheers. See ya.
Gosh, I almost thought I got chased by a bear there. So we're doing Maximize AI Workshop 2.0. And yeah, get out and snowboard, right?
Yo, I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you, come along and see us through.
So we're doing Maximize AI Workshop 2.0. And yeah, get out and snowboard, right? Make things happen in your business, obviously. Don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to learn about the fears of AI, the hype, how to tone that down, how to use tools. And I've been seeing clients design logos, do like all kinds of marketing access type stuff, which has been pretty amazing. But we've been using it on AI calling centers that can follow up for you and do meetings and all that cool stuff. At this event, I am not just showing you guys how to use this stuff, but we'll have sponsors. So if you want to be a sponsor, we'll get like a 1-minute session and you'll be included on the online videos for a long period of time. And also there'll be food for the in-person and online people. It will be live on that day. So definitely come check it out and have fun with us. You get to also just network and engage with people that are like you in the business space or whatever type of utilization tool you're wanting to use the AI workshop stuff for. We'll be giving some trial access to a new piece of like loyalty software for your clients. Something very unique I also didn't mention was you also have an opportunity to upgrade your ticket. If you order the merchandise, you get free access to our 3,000 leads a year AI workshop that helps you kind of improve that skill set, especially for those of you who need marketing, need leads. Not everyone needs that. Some people have already got that figured out. Okay guys, one little strategy hack if you want to get the most out of the workshop. When you sign up, remember you get lifetime access to the workshop. It's going to come in as a community, a course value in your email. And then here's another hack. So if you buy a sticker, which is $15, you get access to merchandise as well as the 3K mini course. You could stack that with a sponsorship purchase. You can see I almost bailed there. And that'll get you a lot more bang for the buck. You promote your business, you do a free giveaway at the workshop,
and you build value in everyone with the online version of it. So don't be square, check out, get yourself some merch. You'll get free merch at the workshop too if you purchase one piece of merch. DJM shirts like this come with an extra shirt purchase bonus. So yeah, check it out. Here's another bonus. So you get to walk around this room in pairs of 2 and engage with a lot of people, and you get to talk online and join the forums. And if you're stuck on an AI tool, we have a group that you can join where everyone talks about it, discusses ways and techniques to improve, discusses like all kinds of amazing stuff that is important for your growth, right? So just keep that in mind, and don't forget to have fun, enjoy the ride. I'll see you on the other side. Cheers, guys. Go check out the podcast as well, the MoneyBru Show, if you want to learn more. Bye for now. Tell people why they should have fun. Come to the AI workshop.
Yeah, bro, you need to come because it's fun, bro. And then your technology can just do what it does, and you can come snowboard, bro. It's gonna be fire lacquer, bro.
Which AI do you love the most? What's the most interesting AI for you so far that I've worked on?
Email.
There you go, you guys have it. Come check it out. Remember to work hard and play hard. Come learn together. Cheers, guys. Bye.
I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come along.